I'd like to talk today about establishing a sense of safety wherever you are in the world. Sometimes it's hard if you've had past traumas or abuse, like I have. It doesn't really matter what age you are in the world today. Feeling safe can be a full-time job, especially if you're like on the go so much, or just, I don't know, the world is definitely in this heightened sense of fear with everything that's happening. So the mind can go crazy. It can make you feel like those past traumas, if you've had that in your life as well, are happening currently. Days, years, lifetimes after those traumas have occurred can still feel trapped in your body. I have something called PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So some of the severe traumas that I suffered early in life still impact me greatly, and I still have memories I can't control over them. And it impacts me. So what I've done is created a toolkit to help me sort of work through these things so that I can still be a functioning member of society and still keep going, keep trucking. So what I've come to realize is no matter what age I am or how good my life looks on the outside, I need to do daily practices to keep my mind balanced and feeling safe from stimulus that may be, let's say, triggering traumas that I've experienced previously. Sometimes a smell can do it, experience, something someone says that'll just, I'm having a great day and all of a sudden I'll get sideswiped by that and it will trigger some sort of memory or feeling or emotion in my body. So when I'm traveling, I'll carry physical objects that comfort me. Like I carry this stone. It's this really beautiful stone. It's shaped like a little heart. And whenever I hold it, it makes me feel safe. I also have my necklace or my rings. These are things that I can touch or hold that make me feel safe and remind me and bring me back to what's important. Like these rings, they're seashells. And so they remind me of the ocean. That always makes me feel happy. And so it's just a mental stimulus that helps bring me back quickly. So mentally, what I also do is I have several visualizations of safe, sacred places that calm my mind when I think of them. Obviously, the ocean. We all know that I swim in the ocean, and that's my thing. Some of these include other places that I've meditated, or adventures, or mountains that I've seen, or experiences with close friends. And thinking of being in that space with them or those surroundings with my friends supporting me or holding me in a moment of fear can sort of shift that thing that's going on in my brain when that happens. The hard part is I don't know when it's going to happen and when it's going to be brought back to a trauma. It's funny, the better my life has gotten, the more sideswipe that sometimes happens. I think what truly happens is that my body now feels safe enough that it can release whatever traumas that were projected into my body when I was younger. And so now my body's trying to release it, and because I'm feeling great, things are going well. So that can be a little disarming. And so that's, instead of me thinking that it's a bad thing or that I'm a victim of this, I've now decided to think of it as a really beautiful way that my body tries to cleanse itself of these particular situations that continue to sort of cause uncomfortable situations for me and panic. So what can trigger is that it feels like pure panic, extreme danger at any moment. My body will freeze up. And then I feel like even though I'm far from danger, I feel like I'm in the middle of it. So usually what I do is I go somewhere safe and secluded if I can. If I'm at an office, then I'll try to go to a bathroom, or I'll try to go outside to a park, or I'll take some deep breaths. And then I have a set of affirmations already ready to go before, that I usually carry, or that I have on my phone or in my bag, that I can read to myself quickly to sort of bring myself back to that. And I take them everywhere I go. So these affirmations I have come up with are when I'm not in a good place, are experiencing that that I can use to help when I'm experiencing that trauma. There are affirmations also designed for moments like this that help me bring me out of my negative space. I can tell my mind that I'm not in that danger any longer. And so what I do is I just sort of imagine a little girl, probably looks like me, a little girl like me. And if she was in danger, if she was scared, what would I do to comfort her? And I imagine sort of doing that to myself and almost creating myself like a third person. And that seems to really help calm me down, because I really need someone to just sort of calm me down. When I'm in a corporate situation, I can't really do that very well. So recently, I had this experience. It was sort of odd. Had so many amazing things going on, so beautiful in my life. My life has been feeling so prosperous and just abundant and so different than what I grew up in. And fun. I was in New York Fashion Week, and our charity was doing really well. I was at the United Nations, and I was getting to speak on behalf of my community. And I was very busy and probably a little overstimulated with all the cool things that were going on in my life, including all my corporate jobs. And So I think I was overwhelmed by all the good things in my life. And I was sitting with my boss at one of my companies that overlooks San Francisco Bay. And it's just one of the most beautiful locations in the world to be in an office. And I'm sitting there and we're having this conversation about me hiring in some foreign country. And in the middle of that, all of a sudden something happened. I don't know what happened, but this trauma of my childhood started having a flash. And it was very awful. And it was happening right before my eyes, and my body froze. And I couldn't hear her talk, so I could feel myself fading. And I felt like someone had really died inside my heart. That feeling when someone dies, it felt like it was that times 10. And then my memories kept replaying this trauma that was pretty horrific in my head over and over and over. And then I felt like all of a sudden I was in a complete panic attack. And then I was frozen inside of this bubble and then stuck with that trauma. And so I hear her sort of talking, and I'm like, oh man, I really don't want to know. I don't, and it's been a while since I had that. So I was like, I don't really know what I need to do. So I excused myself and I went to the bathroom, and I just focused on going to the bathroom and not the vision of what was happening in my head and the trauma. And I did some deep breaths, got myself so I could focus, although it was still happening, and just kept focusing on my breath and kept focusing on what was the next right action I needed to do, even though the trauma and the uncomfortable feeling and a feeling that everybody could see what was going on for me, but wasn't true. I just kept focusing on that, and I went back out, told my boss I needed to go home. I wasn't feeling well. And then I went home and I took care of myself and read affirmations, talked to my community, and basically kind of just comforted myself as best as I could. My mind tells me I can't talk and everybody can see what's happening because I'm freezing. But what I realize is if I just keep focusing on the part of me that's okay, like just sort of imagine that little girl and I'm holding her. And even though the trauma scene is constantly going, I can bring myself back to my breath and imagine just sort of holding that self. Sometimes I'll put my hand on my heart and just sort of pet myself. And most people just think I'm playing with my necklace. They really don't know, even though it feels like they know. So I've already had this sort of system of things that I do that will help calm myself down that I've written before anything like this happens. And that is sort of my internal mental earthquake kit that I've made internally to get myself out of these circumstances when they happen. In the next video, we'll cover a regimen of how to heal yourself in a negative moment or to cope with traumas in a long-term situation if you have something like me, or some of my friends who are vets that have still PTSD from the war. So if this has ever happened to you, I suggest that you find some techniques that help you take your power back from these kinds of stress-inducing stimulus. Or find a couple breathing techniques that'll help be good for you, or carry an object that makes you feel comfortable at times. Most people don't know what you're doing, so you can really create this safety for yourself and come up with a few other actions you can take to make you feel safe. No matter where you are in the world, you can take your power back. Because if I can do it, I know you can do it too. So let's all heal each other and make this world a better place, internally and externally.